In this chapter, we have looked at carbon in depth. We've discussed its occurrence, allotropes, properties, oxides, trioxocarbonate fours, and its uses in the industry. In this lesson, we will look at the carbon cycle, and I hope that you are focused and ready to learn. You see, carbon is the primary constituent of biological compounds and several minerals present in our environment. It can be found in plants, animals, rocks, the ocean, fossil fuels, and even in the air. However, the more interesting thing is that carbon has a unique characteristic. It can be part of a plant one day, the next day it can be part of an animal, and the next it may travel downstream and join up with the water in an ocean. Only a few elements can undergo this type of cycle. This type of cycle is called a biogeochemical cycle, and the carbon cycle is a perfect example. The carbon cycle describes the movement of carbon as it is used and recycled throughout the Earth and its atmosphere. Let's look at the processes that indicate the movement of carbon from one realm to another. Firstly, photosynthesis. Through the process of photosynthesis, green plants manufacture their food by trapping a carbon-containing compound, carbon 4 gas, from the atmosphere. This indicates a movement of carbon from the atmosphere to the plants. These plants, in turn, could be consumed by herbivores like cows and goats, thereby depositing the carbon from the plants into the animals. Unfortunately for these herbivores, they are potential meals for carnivores like lions and tigers. So the carbon content in the herbivores is transferred to the carnivores. These plants and animals, they die, decay, and add nutrients to the soil. Through this decomposition process, carbon is deposited into the soil. Also, the carbon in the soil after millions of years undergoes several processes and becomes a fossil fuel like coal and other fuels. These fossil fuels are used for several household and industrial processes, like cooking, powering cars, and other heavy machinery, thereby releasing the carbon back into the atmosphere. Another way carbon gets into the atmosphere is by human respiration. When we respire, carbon in the form of carbon 4 gas is exhaled by humans and other animals. Carbon 4 gas is also trapped from the atmosphere by sea plants in oceans. This increases the carbon content of our rivers and water bodies. Now, this movement of carbon in different forms around the Earth's biosphere is what we refer to as the carbon cycle. Another element that moves in a similar cycle is nitrogen, but that is a story for another day. The increased movement of carbon in our atmosphere, especially in the form of carbon 4 gas, causes a greenhouse effect and is the primary reason for the heating of the Earth's atmosphere, or what we call global warming. But don't worry, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Until then, a recap of our lesson is that carbon cycles through the Earth's biosphere in different forms through various processes. A summary of these processes is given in this diagram here. As you continue in your learning and understanding of carbon, consider your role in the carbon cycle. I hope to see you again soon. Bye now.